Hello and welcome to Porch Time with Bill Benson. By now you all know, or I think you most know, that I'm Bill Benson, and I'm always happy to be on the porch with friends of mine, musicians that I've met over the years or heard about or whatever. And on this episode, I have Pamela Vitale from Collinsville. Pamela?
Hi.
Welcome.
Nice to meet you again.
Yeah. Pamela is guitarist, bass player, songwriter, visual artist as well, you said. And the best way I can describe your music is it's improvisational, or it's unique and different. And do you have a classification or I don't want to put it in a box, but a place where you would describe your music?
It's a little hard. I'm treating it like I do my artwork and video art. I am coming from multiple influences, like your whole entire life listening to music, mm-hmm. and whether you sang classical or you were obsessed with folk or Nick Drake. Okay, as a young person, Jefferson Airplane, Led Zeppelin. Mm-hmm. As a mature adult, it's more like Fleet Foxes or TV on the radio, Radiohead. Mm-hmm. It's hard, or Portishead. I mean, it's just there's so many influences.
Well, as a musician and songwriter myself, I mean, my music has come from what I've been listening to for all these years. Yeah. And, I can definitely tell over, certain periods of my life, the songs that I wrote sounded a little bit like this.
Exactly.
But I think where we all get to is that all of those influences hopefully come out through you and what you feel and what you've created. So.
And that's what I hope for. I tend not to play anyone's music. Mm-hmm. I mean, when I was younger, I played the piano, so I played, obviously, other people's music, whether it be classical or jazz. I did choir for years, and the same thing. Yeah. But as far as the guitar and the bass cello is concerned, I decided I'm just going to treat it just like my artwork. Nice. And really just channel it.
Okay. Well, why don't you play one of your art pieces?
My art pieces, as I really want to sneeze, but I won't. Okay, so this is, I wrote this last year, or a year and a half ago. Why Don't You Ask Me Why? And the interesting thing about all these songs is I wrote them in Connecticut, so, yeah, so, okay.
me too in the space of Adam.
we'll stop. We're on the porch. It's relaxing. It's relaxing. You don't have to worry. You don't have to worry.
That's embarrassing.
So you wrote that a year and a half ago.
Yeah, terrible though.
And now, where do you write from? Everybody seems to have a little bit of different bent on it. I write from personal experiences, things I see, maybe not things that I've done, but where do you get that from?
Well, this particular song, I mean, all my songs are based on experiences that I've had.
Right.
Whether it be the first song that I wrote when I moved to Collinsville was about, I lived in Brooklyn for 27 years, and it was about Prospect Park. So it was about me walking and being and just my existence there. So so it was me kind of remembering and being nostalgic. Another song, like I Saw You Standing There, is really about somebody who I was friends with, who changed we changed our friendship, and we had to see each other all the time, and it was suddenly, you've changed.
Yeah.
You no longer care. So a lot of my songs really do come from my personal experiences, my emotions, and I do this thing where I channel it. And I just basically take what's going on in my life and I go, okay, give me something.
Right.
And it literally, I mean, song after song comes
I know
out.
that. when it's deep, when it's deep in here, they seem the ones that come through the quickest and the fastest, and they just kind of roll. And actually, they become, for me, favorites. And actually, songs that people who are out in my audience go, oh, I recognize that emotion or that feeling, so it's a good thing.
And my artwork is the same thing. So for me, it's very reflective of how I do my artwork. It's always been about how do I bring somebody the light out of the darkness, or really affect a person in an emotional way that they're like, ooh. A lot of people, they're like, wow, that's intense.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ooh, yeah.
We all have those. So it's very important on the show to play as much music as you can. So pick another.
Okay, now that I didn't finish that one, but you can always come out and see me play it. So let's see. So this one I wrote around the same time, so you can tell that they're very similar. Okay, it's Why Don't You Ask Me? If you see me cry, do you know the reason why? Are you guessing all the time? Why don't you ask me why? If I brush against the wind, will I fly? If you see me cry, do you know the reason why?
So,
Excuse me.
not that I never like to put a label on anyone really, because the label fits or doesn't fit. But when I listen to your your music, the only thing not the only thing, but one of the things that kind of comes into my head is a little bit of avant-garde. So like that song, I hear chord progressions that are very Joni Mitchell, and then you go into this other thing that could be Yoko Ono, or so a little more avant-garde, and then you come back. So it's a very interesting style. So
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I don't know. Ironically, the first half of this I wrote in 1993. And it just kind of hit me. I was like, wait a minute, I want to finish this.
Yep, I have those.
100 years later.
Yep. So so you are Pamela Vitale, and then you have a band.
Yes.
And the band's name is?
Planet Zoxo.
Planet Zoxo.
Or Planet XOXO, but the proper pronunciation is Planet Zoxo.
Okay. And you have bandmates?
Yes, Kristen Larson, who does mostly vocals, phenomenal vocals, and she plays a ukulele and some percussion. And Dave Smith, who phenomenal guitarist. He does mostly picking, and I hopefully someday will get him to sing because he's got one of those angelic voices. And I've played with several other people, and looking, actually, if anyone wants to play with us, I'm looking for a stand-up bass player and a regular bass player. So
excellent.
Definitely.
All right. Well, keep that.
Keep that in mind.
Now, speaking of bass, you have one here.
Yes.
So can we
absolutely.
shift over to that, and I'll hold this while you grab your bass. Oop.
So this was regular bass once, and then a couple of people in Collinsville. Peter Everett, Phil Bouchard, and I think a few other people were sort of trying to figure out how to get a cello sound.
Now, is that to get a cello sound? Do you tune it differently? Do you put different pickups on it?
Yes, it was different pickups. It was shortened. If you can tell, there's a patch here. Something to do with the neck, and I actually don't really know.
Do you ever play it with a bow?
No, I haven't. And ironically, I've done that with an acoustic guitar years ago when I was doing much more avant-garde stuff.
Yep.
But it just has that beautiful just has a lovely sound to it.
Because to me, you were playing it before, and it sounds. It doesn't sound. It's got a different sound than a bass guitar.
Yes.
And the way you play it is a little bit more rhythmic.
Yeah.
So.
Which drives a few people crazy, FYI.
So why don't you get right into something there?
Okay. Let's see. I can play mostly an instrumental, only because it really brings out the sound of the
I'd like
instrument.
everybody to hear that.
And this is And I Know. I'm not alone. Oh, no, no, no. what to do. I would tell you what to do.
Nice. Now, how do you, obviously, writing music on a bass is different than a guitar.
Yeah.
So, where do you start?
On this, I actually find this much easier.
Really?
I don't know if it's because it's cello. I don't know if it's because of the. I don't know. I don't know what it is. It because it's a sort of rhythmic instrument? I grew up.
Do you ever just go boom, boom?
Yeah, I do. I'm trying to think of.
Yeah, and I call that like a lead guitar on a bass. You know, so.
Yeah, it just has such a glorious, warm sound to it.
Yeah.
And I grew up with a cellist, and my sister was 7 years older than me, and I was 4 when she started. So she played 4 hours, practiced 4 hours a day, so for a long time. So I'm wondering if it really has to do with my ear.
Yeah. Now, what did you have formal musical training?
Yes, I did. I started piano. I think I did piano for 4 or 5 years as a little kid, and then I did choir. I did all state in high school, and then all state choir. Played at Lincoln Center with a couple other high schools, and then I did a little bit out of college in New York City, but then I stopped, and then I was just playing. I was just playing kind of avant-garde music with a couple of people down in New York, and mostly doing studio stuff, and then just really doing crazy, wild recordings.
What brought you to Connecticut and Collins?
My sister lived here for 25 years with my brother-in-law and their whole families in Bristol, Connecticut.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm actually from New York. I'm from Westchester and then Brooklyn for 20-something years.
Okay, very cool.
And what was funny is I didn't play music for 13 years until I moved here.
Well, I can tell you that just from my own personal experience and then talking with bunches of musicians, at some point we've all put music away for whatever reason for a long time, some longer than others, but if it's a passion for you, you end up finding it again.
Well, I have to say, I think I was 48, moved to a completely different place, very different from Brooklyn, and I was surrounded by musicians, and it just fell out of me.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of very sad circumstances and very intense emotional stuff that happened. So it just.
Yeah.
I didn't have much of a choice.
Yeah, when it comes out that way, so it's very important to actually, and I tell people this all the time, whether you do it professionally or semi-professionally, you know, if you have music in you and a passion for it, even if you're sitting on the couch or, in your case, standing in your living room,
Right.
You have to play,
Yeah.
and you have to get that out of you.
I had to. It was just, I would get up in the morning and grab my phone, and I would literally harmonize an entire song.
Right. So we quickly run out of time on the porch. We're getting close to that. But quickly, where can our audience hear, see, come to see a live gig?
We're playing 414 for Swan Day, Connecticut, which is very exciting to me because it's
Where are they holding that this year?
New Britain.
Okay.
I don't remember.
I think I know that they've changed locations each year, basically.
I feel bad because I should
So
know.
check Swan Day, Connecticut. You can go on Facebook. There's a Facebook page for that. So find out.
And I'm excited about that because it's Planet Zoxo that's playing. I'm excited about that because it's all women composers.
Right.
You have to be a composer in order to do it, and you have to be led by women.
Right.
Even though we have a guy in our band.
Right. and that's Swan Day is organized and run by Jennifer Hill.
Yes, who's awesome and
yeah.
dynamic and energetic.
Right. So Swan Day, Connecticut, April 14th.
Yes, and we are also doing, what's the church? The church, there's like it's not an open mic, but she does every weekend or every Thursday or every once a month.
In what town? Because there's open mics everywhere.
This is the terrible thing. Well, she sets it up. It's like this whole church performance, and she does like 4 or 5 bands.
Is Jen, you talking Jennifer?
No, it's someone else.
Okay.
Stores. Anyway, terrible. I should have wrote this all down before I got on here. But we're doing we're doing a set then. And
open mics really for any musician who's...
that's not an open mic. We're actually set to do it.
Okay, but we'll tell you, but that kind of stuff, open mics and opportunities like that, really, you know, people talk about Connecticut maybe years ago. I haven't found it. Don't have a lot of live music opportunities, but there are opportunities in just about every weekend, somewhere to hear local talent.
Yes, and there's a lot of local talent.
And you can go Google open mics, you can Google whatever. There's plenty of things to hear. So what we're going to do is we're going to have you pick a song.
Okay.
And play us out off the porch.
Oh, okay.
Because we are running out of time, and I want to thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much. And we're in the process of recording our first album.
Excellent.
So, I'm very excited about it. We'll have 7 songs.
Sweet.
And that'll be out by June, we hope. Cross your fingers.
Perfect.
Okay.
So thank you, Pamela, and
You're
play us
welcome.
out.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure on the porch.
And here we go.